In this video, more Nintendo 64. Hi everyone, John here. So that last video about the Nintendo 64's birthday was actually rather rushed. So I totally forgot to mention some things. For one thing, it's strange that I didn't even show the console itself. So here's a nice shot of the console. And of course there's other color variants too. And I didn't even show the logo, so here's that. Oh yes, and I forgot to mention that I also supported the Nintendo 64 anthology, the Ultimate Book. I believe that book is coming out in October, so it just missed the 20th anniversary in North America, but I might talk about that book too, because, you know, I love books. Also, when I was showing the Super Mario 64 cartridge signed by Charles Martinet, I forgot to show this photo here of me and my brother with him at the Calgary Expo. There's kind of a long story as to why it looks like I'm wearing sunglasses there. I'm not, it's just transitions. The short form of it is that the Calgary Expo people didn't know where we were supposed to line up for photos with Charles Martinet. Like, they weren't sure which line we were supposed to be in, so we were waiting in multiple lines. I kept on questioning different volunteers and getting different answers. And then I decided to ask one more time, and they're like, oh, you should already be inside for your photo. I was like, for goodness sakes. So me and my brother ran in, and because my glasses are transitions, they were still dark from the sunlight outside, because the line was outside. And there was like nobody in the Charles Martinet lineup because they were finishing up, so me and my brother just ran in there and managed to get our photo. But yeah, my glasses are really tinted, so it looks like I'm like trying to be cool or have swag or whatever it is the kids say these days, but really I didn't mean to look like that. Anyways, that's not necessarily about the Nintendo 64, but just a weird story about Charles Martinet. Since that last video was so rushed, just consider this one like an addendum. Like, the Edmonton Expo video will still be my third video, even though it would technically be my fourth. This is the third, or this is my 2.5 video, my second 0.5, second 0.5, second 2.5, whatever you call it. It's video 2.5, whatever. So in this addendum, I'm just going to quickly, very quickly, talk about some of the N64 games I missed. And of course, it was pretty bad that I made that video without even mentioning Super Smash Bros. Or Mario Kart 64. Like, seriously, this is where multiplayer Nintendo craziness began. I mean, with more than 2 players, we're talking about 4-player standard. And then I forget to mention the 2 biggest multiplayer franchises that still drive console sales today. Probably everyone that has a Wii U has Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and Mario Kart 8. It's just what you play if you have a Nintendo console, like, seriously. I remember even as early as when, like, Street Fighter 2 was new, like when the fighting game scene really exploded. I remember thinking alongside my friends and my brother about what it would be like to have a Nintendo crossover game. So when Super Smash Bros. First came out, that was crazy. Like, it was like Mario and Link and Pikachu and Samus all in the same game. It was crazy. I mean, these days it feels like everybody is doing a crossover, but at the time in video games, this was really cool because we're talking about really big video game icons, some of which hadn't met each other before, and it's like all in one fighting game and just have at it, you know? So yeah, Smash Bros. Continues today. It's one of the biggest Nintendo franchises. I guess I don't really need to say a whole ton about Super Smash Bros. Because you know all about this game. What I will say about Smash Bros., and I'm probably going to mention this every chance I get, is what is it with the elitist Smash players who always turn items off? Just don't, okay? Items are part of the game. You know, Smash Bros. Is this big nostalgia, big Nintendo fest of stuff, and the items, which come from so many games, you know, like, it's all referencing other stuff, and they're all really cool to use. It's just like, why do you have to be all, like, so afraid of items? If you're a good Smash Brothers player, you would play with items on, okay? It's not fun if you turn items off, okay? That's sorry. Just got a little carried away there, but I just really hate it when people insist on playing with items off. Just, can we at least get a few rounds with items on? Really. So Mario Kart 64. Obviously already better than Super Mario Kart because you've got 4 players playing. Nintendo Power ran a contest for Mario Kart 64 involving who could get the best time in Mario Circuit, and I played that so much, that Mario Circuit track. Man, I love the music. I'm not gonna have the music here, but go YouTube the Mario Circuit music from Mario Kart 64. It's awesome. The goal was to get under 1 minute and 30 seconds in Mario Circuit, if I remember correctly. And I actually did it, and I won a Mario Kart 64 calling card, like a prepaid phone card, which I don't know where it is. And it wouldn't have been any use for me anyways, because it was only for use in the continental US, and I live in Canada. But it was fun, nonetheless. Speaking of Mario Kart 64, I actually didn't own this, like, at the time. I rented games a lot, and I probably rented this more than once, and my friends had it, so I played it, but I never actually owned it until recently when I needed it for a tournament. The funny thing is, when I went to order this online, they sent me the wrong game. Instead, they sent me Mickey Speedway USA. And since I was talking about Nintendo 64 being the Rare machine, this is a game developed by Rareware that no one ever really talks about. I guess it's like Mario Kart, but with Mickey and other Disney characters. I played probably literally a minute or two of it, so it's a game I own that I've barely played. While we're talking about mascot racing games, there was also Diddy Kong Racing. Personally, I didn't see what was so great about it. I mean, I guess there were other vehicles, and there were all these animal characters that could potentially be mascots. I mean, you had Banjo from Banjo-Kazooie, and you had Conker from Bad Fur Day in there. And other guys, like there was a turtle named Tip Tup or something, like clock named TT that my brother thinks is cool. It's kind of funny how Banjo is in this game racing, and he's also in the Xbox 360 version of that Sega racing game, if I recall correctly. So Banjo's raced against Sega characters and Rare characters, including Diddy Kong, which I guess is a Rare character, but now a Nintendo character. Like, he first debuted in Donkey Kong Country, which was a Rare developed game, but we've seen Diddy now in Smash Brothers and other stuff, so I guess he's with Nintendo. I mean, his hat says Nintendo, didn't it? Because it was Dixie that had Rare. Anyways, whatever. Anyways, I never did finish Diddy Kong Racing. I couldn't beat WizPig. And between Diddy Kong Racing and Yoshi's Story, which I didn't get 100% on either. I mean, I was still trying to get 100% on every game that I played, but I guess I didn't care so much that I didn't get 100% on Diddy Kong Racing and Yoshi's Story, because these weren't Donkey Kong or Mario games. I guess it sounds kind of snobbish because Diddy and Yoshi can certainly carry a franchise, I guess, but yeah, I never finished those two. And then while we're talking about Rare games with vehicles that I haven't finished, there's Blast Corps. Not much to say about it. I mean, it had some cool vehicles and robots, but once you've done all those missions on Earth, then you go to like different planets and stuff. Uranus or Neptune or something, you had to go around with the dump truck, the one they have to actually smash things using the back end of it. I wasn't very good at that. And yeah, yeah. It's a cool game, but I never finished it. I remember playing Star Wars Shadow of the Empire and really loving it. I even bought the hardcover book and read it, and it's probably the only Star Wars novel that I've read. And yeah, there's that Hoth level again, you know, with the speeders and the AT-AT walkers, or AT-AT walkers, however you want to pronounce it. I guess AT-AT is the correct pronunciation. I'm so used to AT-AT though, but anyways. I remember thinking, man, Star Wars games could not look better than this. Boy, was I wrong, because Star Wars Rogue Leader on a GameCube, so much better. And yeah, I played Star Wars Rogue Squadron on the Nintendo 64, but I don't really remember much about it, really, so sorry. Other than Mario and Star Wars, I recall the other launch game was Wave Race 64. And yeah, I didn't really play much of Wave Race 64, or Pilot Wing 64, or Excite Bike 64, or 1080 Snowboarding, so I don't really have anything to say about them. Mystical Ninja Star and Goemon. Now this is a fun game. Not to be confused with Goemon's Great Adventure. If anything, the opening sequence and the sequence where Goemon gets into that mech guy, I forgot his name. Anyways, that's what makes this cool. And the exploration and the stuff. And you know, it's an N64 adventure game, lots to do and go around and explore and do. Yeah, it was cool. Oh yeah, I mentioned a whole bunch of fighting games in the previous video, but I forgot a few, so I might as well just mention them now. I'm a big Transformers fan, and I thought Beast Wars was one of the best series within Transformers. But that Blockbuster exclusive fighting game, the Transformers Beast Wars Transmetals, that was just crap. Like, seriously, it sucks. War Gods is another arcade-style fighting game on the Nintendo 64, and I don't remember much about it, other than that Anubis had cool music. Anubis is probably the only guy whose name I remember. And I almost feel like I should get my brother on this show one day because I remember he likes Deadly Arts and Hybrid Heaven and Ready to Rumble, but I don't really have anything to say about them, so maybe one day I'll get Jason on here. Oh yes, and Bioshock, another cheap fighting game. Like basically you just fight through all these mutants and freaks. But the last boss is this giant guy that's like 4 screens high or something ridiculous on a small platform. No chance. I couldn't beat it. Pokemon Puzzle League is a fun puzzle game. I believe it's part of the Pano de Pon series. In Japan, the first game was called Pano de Pon. And it became Tetris Attack on the Super Nintendo, and they put Yoshi on there. It's weird that they call it Pokemon Puzzle League, like it makes sense in the context of Pokemon with the Pokemon League and stuff. But then future games, like on the DS, they'd be called like Planet Puzzle League or something, and it would be like, what does it have to do with leagues of any kind? It's just weird. Anyways, yeah, like I said, it's pretty much like Tetris Attack. And between Tetris Attack and Tetrisphere, which is another N64 puzzle game, it's like we're just really butchering what Tetris means, since Tetris comes from the root tetra, which means 4. It's like these aren't technically Tetris games, but anyways, they're neat. I mean, I remember liking Tetrisphere, the music, and visually it was neat, even though technically you can't make up a sphere with cubes, but anyways. I remember I really liked Rampage World Tour. I never really played Rampage 2 Universal Tour. Space Station Silicon Valley is a European game. I think it's made by, like, it's Take-Two or DMA, I believe. And these guys would go on to make the Grand Theft Auto games. Space Station Silicon Valley is one of the few games I couldn't finish that I really wanted to. The problem is that you play through this whole game, you're like jumping from robot ammo to robot animal, and then at the end, after the ship crashes into Earth, I believe, then you're like suddenly in this giant mech robot, or maybe it was the robot you were trying to repair all along. I don't quite remember. But the gameplay was vastly different. You had to jump around and you had to go and like destroy all these robot animals every time. It was just so weird and different, and unfortunately I never finished it. One game that I did finish that I'm proud of finishing is Turok 2. The Turok Dinosaur Hunter games are great, but 2 was by far the best one. I was so devoted to finishing the game, and I really worked hard at it, and I actually did. And I'm so proud of finishing it, and for some reason I don't really remember the ending. But I liked Turok, so definitely play Turok 2. And the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater game started up in this era. All I really remember about the first one was that song about Superman. What's that song? It's like, younger all the time, whatever. Anyways, look it up. That's pretty much all I remember from Tony Hawk, the first one. Okay, so I think I talked about every N64 game that you could possibly want me to talk about. I wasn't going to talk about all of them, and just as I already said in the first one, I already remembered more than I thought I did. The point is, despite having only 296 games, the Nintendo 64 had a lot of quality stuff, a lot of stuff that we now consider classic. Maybe it's because of my age, I have trouble seeing this as retro yet. I mean, I guess it is, since it is now over 20 years old, if that's the definition. I'm not sure exactly how many generations something has to be old enough to be retro, but I mean, I guess it is. Hopefully this video doesn't take as long to render as the first one. Yeah, that's why the first video was late. I intended to get it out on the 29th, and then the rendering took forever, and it finished like just after midnight. It was like, come on, really? But yeah, at least for now, until I get that Nintendo 64 anthology book, I think that's pretty much all I have to say about the Nintendo 64 for now. So, happy birthday again, Nintendo 64. Once again, don't forget to check out VGMaps.com and consider buying a Nintendo Quest DVD. Again, this is the exclusive Kickstarter backer version with exclusive audio commentary. And don't forget to like and share and subscribe. Please, please, please subscribe. Please subscribe. I'm just still starting out, but I really want this to be a continuing series. And if you subscribe, that means you're telling me that you like what I'm doing. So, yes, please subscribe. Okay, that's it for today. Bye.